What if that very thing that you are proud of is what has taken away your peace? What if the skill that made you strong, the instinct that kept you safe, the sharpness that helped you win, no longer protects you, but is quietly controlling you? Jacob never bragged about his wittiness, but he held it dear because it always worked for him. At a young age, he learned to observe. He looked closely at his brother Esau. He was loud, strong, and cheerful. His father's eyes looked at him with pleasure wherever he went. But Jacob was quiet and observant, always staying amongst the tents. He learned that if blessings don't come to you, you'll get them for yourself. And so he became a negotiator, a deal maker, a strategist. He wittingly took his brother's birthright as the firstborn from him, and from there disguised himself as him to take the blessings of the firstborn. His actions brought heightened emotions, and then he ran away from home for years. It worked well for him to the point that he began to believe that survival and wisdom are the same thing. You know, at times, what you build to survive can gradually become the only way you know how to live. If stories like this help you to see yourself more clearly, then consider subscribing. Because this channel is not just about stories or spectacles, but about the long, quiet formation of the soul. He went into a forceful exile to a land his mother instructed him to go to. In that land, he encountered someone as sharp at calculating as he was, his uncle Laban. Jacob fell in love with Laban's younger daughter, Rachel, and worked for 7 years to marry her. But all those years of hard labor were futile. He woke up after the wedding night, only to see a different woman in his bed. So Jacob was deceived in the very way he deceived his father, in blindness. The deceiver finally felt what it's like to be deceived. But even at that, he worked for 7 extra years for Rachel, and 6 additional years for wealth and independence. His flock multiplied, his household expanded. Children were born to his family, already shaped by rivalry and comparison. And from the outside, his life looked prosperous and full. But even in success, Jacob never stopped calculating and strategizing. Because, you see, survival instincts don't retire when danger fades. They keep scanning for threats, keep preparing for danger, keep dividing camps just in case. When he finally returned home and heard that his brother Esau was coming to meet him, he divided his family into groups, sent gifts ahead in succession, rehearsed his apology speech, and ensured a plan of escape. Because fear doesn't ask whether it's necessary, it just takes over. That night, after sending his family and belongings across the river, he remained behind by the riverside. Some people get themselves busy continuously, never wanting to have the opportunity when they can stay with themselves. And that's exactly what we need sometimes, so that God can meet with you. If this story reminds you of someone in their wrestling season, share it with them. You never know who is standing by a river tonight. And then, out of the darkness, without introduction, a man appeared and seized him. Suddenly, Jacob found himself on the ground. Who is this man? No time for questions, for the fight was on. Jacob struggled to his feet and began fighting. They fought throughout the night, Jacob trying to catch his breath with every attempt, trying to put the man down. It was a fierce battle. He fought the only way he could, to win, to secure, to control the outcome before it controlled him. But this opponent was not to be managed, manipulated, or respond to disguise or negotiation. For hours, the battle continued without resolution. The stranger noticed that the darkness was thinning by dawn. There's not much time. And so, he touched Jacob's hip, and just like that, just that touch, strength drained from Jacob's body, and his leg collapsed under him. The pain was great and humbling. You see, there comes that singular and revealing moment when you realize that your strength and strategy that you always relied on have failed you. "Let me go," the stranger said, but Jacob clung to him, saying, I will not let you go unless you bless me." This was no longer the voice of a manipulator or a negotiator seeking advantage, but the voice of a broken man who had run out of options. Then the stranger looked at him and asked,
"What is your name?"
He could have performed, he could have deflected, but he was defeated and stripped of human integrity. Jacob, heel grabber, the one who takes what he fears, will never be given. You cannot step into a new identity whilst the old one remains. Real strength is not just about fighting or trying to control the outcome. It is about holding on to God when you think you have the strength to do it yourself. Because in reality, we don't. When we acknowledge our weaknesses, He comes to our rescue. We become strong not of ourselves, but in Him. This is true strength. You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, the stranger answered. When the sun rose, Jacob was alone by the riverside, but no longer the same person he once was. His hip hurt with every step he took as he met up with his family and prepared to meet his brother Esau. He limped across the field. There came Esau with 400 men. As Jacob, now ahead of his household, limped towards his brother, he knew that there was no escape. He bowed as he approached, then again and again, till the 7th time, not out of wits, not out of cleverness or strategy, but of total surrender. Esau ran towards him, and instead of a fight, he received an embrace. The reconciliation was not born out of his strategy or plan, no, but it came after the wrestling, after the naming, after the wound, after the surrender. Jacob, now called Israel, walked away limping. He was still responsible. He was still a leader. But what made the difference was that he was no longer driven by the instinct that once defined him. You see, growth does not erase your past, but rather it changes the way you carry it. If this story met you somewhere real, leave the word wrestling in the comments so others know that they are not alone in life's battles. And if you want more stories about the quiet process of becoming, subscribe and walk with us, because we are not chasing noise here. We are building depth, one forming story at a time.